Hello, you're welcome again to the atmosphere of simple gospel truth. We are continuing in our message on the satanic temptation. And today we'll be looking at the three dimensions of Satan's temptation. The three dimensions of this satanic temptation. We have looked at how Satan himself fell. And the same formula that caused his falling is still the same thing he's using against everyone and every believer today. We'll be reading the book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 6. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eyes, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. Permit me to read again. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eyes, and also desirable for gaining wisdom. From this reading, we discover three things: the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. We saw this again, or we see the summary of this in the letter according to John, 1 John chapter 2, verse 15 to 17. The beloved John says, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world." The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. These three things are the three dimensions of the satanic temptation. James, one of the apostles, also has the same thing to say in the book of James, chapter 1. James said, when tempted, no one should say, "God is tempting me." That's verse 13 of James 1. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then after that desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. The same way, still talking about the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Several men have fallen because of these three major things. Let me point out your attention to a man in the book of Joshua, chapter 7. His name is Achan. Verse 20. Achan stole the devoted thing that he needed not to touch. And because of this, the anger of the Lord fell upon the Israelites, so much so that 36 of them fell in the battle against Ai. And when Achan's sin found him out, in verse 20 of Joshua chapter 7, Achan replied, "It is true, I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I have done. When I saw in the plunder a beautiful robe from Babylonia, 200 shekels of silver and a bar of gold, weighing 50 shekels, I coveted." Do you hear this? I coveted them. Number 2, I took them. And number 3, they are hidden in the ground inside my tent. He coveted, he took, and he hid. Permit me to ask you, what are you hiding in your closet that does not belong to you? What are you hiding in your computer? What are you hiding in your diary? What are you hiding under your bed? What are you hiding in the secret place? The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. We saw the same thing in the life of David. David, in the year he didn't go to the battle, was in his house, and at the top of his roof, he noticed a woman who was taking her bath. And it was Uriah's wife, Bathsheba, one of the wives of David, valiant soldier. David saw the woman's nakedness. He coveted nakedness, and he went after her. And then he took the woman to himself, and in order to hide his sin, he killed Uriah, the husband of Bathsheba. If you cannot control these things, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, it can always land anyone into trouble. I want to summarize this message. This is the second teaching on the satanic temptation. That there are things you need to work upon in your life so as not to fall into his temptation. I remember a man who said, I have disciplined my eyes not to look strangely at an opposite sex, at a woman. I will continue in part 2 on this teaching, and then we will go deeper again. We still have 2 lessons or 2 teachings on the satanic temptation. But don't forget today, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life are the 3 dimensions of satanic temptation. But you can conquer through the help of the Holy Spirit. Rely on the Lord, rely on the Holy Spirit, and he will help you and I. God bless you. Till I see you again in the next teaching. Bye.